Hello, I'm Adam Ramsey, and today I'm going to go over the Understanding by Design template, Stage 3. Stage 3 is the last stage of the UBD template where the instructor begins to specifically plan how the learning will take place. In order to help make sure Stage 3 is well aligned with Stages 1 and 2, there's an acronym to use when planning your learning events, WHERE to. This is the Where To Learning Plan. W. Help students know where the unit is going and what is expected. Help the teacher know where the students are coming from, prior knowledge and interests. The first part of the W section is goals. It is important that students have a clear vision of what the unit is going to be about. One way to do that is to present the learning goals right at the beginning of the unit. Here is where you will write out your learning objectives, or SMART goals. SMART is another acronym to keep in mind when writing out your learning objectives. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, results-focused, and time-focused. Provided that goals you create meet these standards, students will have a clear picture of what is going to be expected of them over the course of the unit. The next section is relevance. The subjects you cover in your unit should serve a purpose in the lives of your students after the unit is complete. After all, what purpose is there in teaching something if your students will not use it outside of the classroom? Here is where you will signal to your students where the unit is going by explaining how this unit will benefit them. An example of this could be presenting practical real-world examples where this content will apply. Here you can think of and list a few reasons why your unit will be useful to your students in the future. The last part of W is diagnosis. Diagnosis is about developing an understanding of how comfortable your students are with the material. Many times your students will be at different levels. Some students may already be comfortable with the material, while others may not be familiar with it at all. Here is where you can brainstorm different ways to assess your students before the unit really begins. One thing you could try is administering a pre-test and use the results to adjust the unit to the needs of your students. The H stands for hook and hold. How will you hook in all of your students and hold their interest? More often than not, schoolwork is not as interesting as it could be. One hurdle that you're going to have to overcome as an instructor is to get them to pay attention to the subject at hand. So, in what ways are you going to hook and hold your students' attention? This could be an odd fact or anomaly. You can introduce a mystery or ask a provocative question. Or maybe you can think of ways to allow students to choose what to learn about or how to complete a project. Here is a place where you can brainstorm some ways that you can get your students interested in learning the unit. The second half of H is technology. This is covering how will technology be used in the unit to hook your students and get them interested and engaged. With the world becoming increasingly technological, it only makes sense to provide as many avenues for students to explore the possibilities of technology within our classes as we can. Perhaps your unit can involve a multimedia project to complete using software or creating a video. Are there any unique and interesting online resources where students can learn about the subject matter for your unit, maybe in a different way? Think of ways that you can include this into your unit here. E stands for equip students, help them experience the key ideas, and explore the issues. Unless you provide your students with the means, they will not be able to achieve the goals you have set for them. Have you considered what ways you can set your students up for success in terms of understanding, rather than just gathering knowledge and skills? As instructors, it is important to make plans on how to develop your students in meaning making and their performance. One way you can equip students is through scaffolded instruction. teaching them to use graphic organizers to make sense of key ideas. Start by showing them how to use them, then gradually help them become more independent in their application of it. Another way to help equip them is by giving them something to refer to as they complete their assignments. Letting students have access to rubrics will help them realize what kinds of criteria the assignment will be evaluated on. Additionally, giving them a range of examples from excellent work to poor work will help them visualize what is possible for their own project. R stands for Provide opportunities to rethink and revise their understandings and work. The first section is Rethink, Revise, and Refine. Rethinking is integral to the learning process. Greater understanding can come when there is a shift in perspective. One way to help aid students' understanding is to ask them questions that will pull them from their own view on a situation and have them view it through a different lens. This can be done through a variety of exercises, like having students practice walking in another's shoes, or have students play devil's advocate on a given situation covered in class. Additionally, giving students an opportunity to revise their work and receive feedback can help to achieve this goal as well. Creating time for peer review or peer discussions can be a benefit. Blocking out time to provide editing sessions or rehearsals of their projects can be beneficial as well. Here is a place where you can brainstorm ideas on how to help your students rethink class content. The second part of R is reflect and self-regulate. When students reflect, it gives them the opportunity to self-assess and analyze our own thought processes. Taking time for reflection helps us learn from our experiences and apply what we learn to new situations later in life. Helping students develop this skill will be extremely beneficial for them outside of the classroom and help them move closer to achieving your Stage 1 goals. So, when planning your unit, you should provide opportunities for self-reflection. This could look like completing self-assessments or keeping a reflection journal over the course of the class. Here is a place where you can list your ideas to promote reflection in your own unit. The second E is evaluate. Allow students to get formative feedback to improve their work. Another integral part of learning is receiving feedback. Without feedback, students will not know how well they are progressing in the unit. Receiving feedback will help them look at the blind spots in their learning to help them pay attention to areas that need to be addressed to best complete the unit and achieve the goals set for them. Simply be cognizant of the need for students to receive feedback from you on their assignments and projects that you have them turn in. Here is where you can list the different ways students will receive feedback from you in your unit. T stands for be tailored to the different needs, interests, and abilities of learners. Tailoring means that your instruction should be tailored for the individual student to have the freedom to engage with the content in a way that they want or need to. This could be as simple as allowing students to have a choice in the subject of a presentation or essay, or allowing students to access course materials in a variety of different media. The key to tailoring a learning plan to your students is to allow them choices in such a way that conforms to your plans in stages 1 and 2. For example, instead of writing out an essay, could a student instead create a video essay? Provided that the essay can be done in such a way that it will hit all of your Stage 2 evidence and your Stage 1 goals, then the student should be allowed that choice to promote engagement with the learning process. Additionally, students can have disabilities that may prevent them from learning the content or using the course materials. Be flexible in tailoring the unit to allow for changes to accommodate them. O stands for Organized Using Technology. This is the last section of Stage 3, and it is broken into 5 different sections. First, your unit must be organized in a learner-centered way. Organize the unit in such a way that based on a student's need or desire, the assignments or content of the unit can be adjusted accordingly. Here you will answer the question, How will the unit be organized to ensure your lesson is designed using a variety of learner-centered instructional strategies? You can write the different ways your unit will be learner-centered here. The next section is organized to be authentic. If a unit is organized to be authentic, it will engage students in technology that will benefit them in the real world. This could be teaching them how to use certain software or teaching them how to conduct proper research using technology. Ultimately, your unit should help prepare them for professional situations. Here is where you will explain how your unit will incorporate technology in a meaningful way that will be useful for your students in the future. The third section is organized to creativity, higher order skills, and mental habits of mind. The third section asks, what parts of your unit are teaching your students soft skills? Skills like empathy, persistence, etc. are necessary and desirable skills to have in the workplace, and students that learn these skills often become more successful. Are you deliberately organizing your unit to teach these skills to your students? This is where you will write about how your unit promotes creativity, higher order thinking, and how it will develop these habits of mind. The fourth section is organized to assess students' learning. As students progress through the unit, it is important to structure the unit in a way that allows you to continually assess your students' progress. This helps you keep track of your students' achievement of your goals. If your unit is set up for continual assessment, it will be easier for you to spot where a student might be slipping in his understanding of the content. This is where you will explain how your unit is set up for continual assessment. The last section of O is organized to use technology to analyze data. Lastly, how will you use technology to assess your students' performance in the class? This can be as simple as explaining how your students will turn in their homework assignments, through an online Dropbox or a video posted to YouTube. It is also about how your students will be assessed. Will there be a project that will be scored with a rubric? This is where you will describe how your students will be assessed and how they will receive feedback. That was the last of the UBD template. I hope you learned a lot. Good luck creating your own units.